Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwowin's Nest. Thanks for joining me today. I've got another series for you called Dollar Store Saturday. Let's get to it. I've got a bunch of these little containers that had the cork topper from the Dollar Tree. They were in their Valentine's section and there's all these sweet little quotes on them, but I don't need that. So I'm taking 100% acetone and a makeup pad and just wiping it off. I found some adorable little mini birdhouses at my local Dollarama store, and they were $1.25. Beautiful, different designs, and they're just so cute and tiny. I'm going to paint them with some neutral colors. I have three different styles, and then I'm going to add some embellishments to them and make them look super cute for some neutral spring farmhouse decor. I'm using a combination of latex paint and chalk paint. The bottom of these birdhouses is just one small flat piece of wood, and I wanted it to be a little bit more substantial. So I'm just taking a couple of tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree and gluing one on the front and one on the back, as you see me doing here. I needed to drill a hole inside the cork in order for the dowel that I'm going to use will be able to be pushed through. I'm using a 1/4 inch dowels, so I have my 1/4 inch spade drill bit and I'm just going down the center of the cork all the way through to the bottom. I'm also going to need to put a hole through the bottom of the birdhouses so the dowel can fit up through them as well. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going to take my 1/4 inch spade drill bit and drill through the bottom of the birdhouses, just eyeballing in the center. It doesn't have to be 100% exact, but you just want to make sure you get all the way through. I've got some 12-inch dowels that are a 1/4 inch wide, and these came from Dollarama. I cut two of them in half, and one of them sort of maybe not 2/3. I don't know. You can see the two gray ones there. That was one piece. The reason I'm cutting them in different lengths is because I want them to be staggered in height once I'm done with the project. I then added some hot glue and then just pushed them in as far as I needed them to be and made sure that they were nice and straight. Using my Cricut Joy, I cut out some vinyl letters, and I'm just going to show you here how I do things. When I've got some vinyl letters, but I've got three different words, when you use the Cricut, they always put it together as close as possible to help you save on vinyl. What I like to do is cut the words apart right on the mat, and then I'm only worrying about weeding out one letter at a time. Now here you can see that the L in the word whistle doesn't want to come off. I am going to need to put a new blade in my Cricut Joy, but that was the only one that gave me some major issues. I'm just going to go ahead and peel all of this off and then continue with the other two. Here are my three words. You can see I've got them cut individually. And on this word whistle, the S and the T seem to be a little farther apart than I would have liked for them to be. So I'm going to put them on separately so I can kind of compact the letters a little bit more. There is an option on your Cricut to put the letters together a little bit closer, but I didn't notice it until they were already cut out. I'm using two painter sticks that I had hanging around on my desk to steady this little round jar. And I'm going to go ahead and apply each of the decals, making sure that everything is pressed down super well. I can use my Cricut scraper here to just burnish everything down, and then I'll be able to peel off the transfer tape. As usual, I will have this available as a free printable on my website. Go down to my description box, click on free printables on my website. That's the link you want, and it'll take you straight to where I have all my free printables. I also wanted to paint the dowel rods, and I'm just mixing and matching these three colors all the way through. You'll see what I mean at the end. I like the color of natural cork, but for this project, I decided to give them a coat of paint that's going to match the dowel that will be pushed into them. I'm going to just do across the top and about halfway down the sides. Now that everything is all dry, it's time to assemble. I did have to push fairly hard on the dowel just to get it through the cork. It didn't end up going all the way through, so I ended up pulling the cork out and just making sure that I got that dowel all the way through to the bottom. And this is also where I'll make sure that each of the birdhouses is a different height. Then I decided to also put a little bit of hot glue on the cork to make sure that nothing would fall out of the jar itself. I put them on a little wood frame, added some moss and a little bird, and I think this turned out absolutely adorable. If you are new to my channel, I do tons of farmhouse decor. I love that style, and I do seasonal decor as well as just everyday decor. If you like what you see, I'd love for you to hit that thumbs up button. That tells YouTube you like my video and they promote it more. I'd also love for you to subscribe. If you hit that little icon down in the bottom right-hand corner, that's an easy way to subscribe without having to leave the video. Now let's get back to crafting. Okay, can you handle one more bunny project? I hope you can. I found these two chunky wood bunnies at Dollarama and they were hiding in my stash. I had forgotten about them completely. I'm going to just take off their little embellishments by using this little razor scraper. It really does a great job taking off paper labels and some extra hot glue. I'm going to sand it just a little bit, make it nice and smooth, but I really love how this looks. I love that wood grain at the top. I love that color block at the bottom, but one of these bunnies is going to be standing with the pattern on the inside. So I'm going to have to do the same technique on both sides, and I don't really like the yellow. I think I'm going to change that up and make it a little bit more modern. I'm using some painter sticks to make the bottom and the sides of this crate. This Dollar Tree square is a fantastic tool because it makes sure that you get things nice and straight and even. I'm just going to make sure that I have enough length for underneath the bunnies, so I'm just going to mark that off. If you don't have painter sticks, you could certainly use jumbo craft sticks. If you don't have any jumbo, you could use the regular size or maybe just the large ones. You would just need to add a couple of extras. Of course, these painter sticks are fairly long and they are fairly thick. I'm going to be attempting to cut them using my miter shears. They are tough. So what I like to do is just cut through the one side, flip it over, squeeze that miter shear again, get another cut mark, and then I keep doing this back and forth and on either side until I can finally snap it through. This is what the bottom of the crate will look like with the two bunnies standing on the end. I'm just using this as a measurement to cut 4 more of the painter sticks. Using some painter's tape, I'm going to mask off the bottom portion where it's already color blocked so I can paint the top part of the bunny with my mushroom latex paint. That's the lighter color that I have and it's my absolute favorite. That's why it's house paint. I have quite a few rooms in my home painted with this color, including the garage. So I'm going ahead and painting the bottom part of the bunnies for this color block effect. I'm not using any tape at the top because the beige color or that mushroom color isn't 100% dry yet, and I didn't want to take the chance that I would peel anything off. So instead, I took this big flat square brush and I'm using that to draw the lines. So you don't always have to do tape. If you've got the proper brush, it will do the job for you. And that's why when you go out to the stores, you see brushes in all different shapes and sizes because there's a purpose for each brush. While my bunnies have a chance to dry, I'm going to go ahead and assemble the bottom. I'm taking 2 extra little pieces of painter sticks and I'm just going to hot glue them together, making sure that I leave enough space for the bunny at the end. Now I'm going to distress my bunnies. I am using a chip brush that has multiple layers of paint on it that have been dried on. And I do this on purpose because then I get a really rough texture. You can see how many layers of paint that this brush has on it. And it's just going to let me give just sort of some streaks and not necessarily any blending, which is the look I'm going for. I'm also going to do some sideways distressing on the black down at the bottom. I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach the bunnies to either end of the wooden crate, making sure that I have them facing in the same direction. Now it's time to fit in the sides. I did have to sand them down a little bit because where I had measured before, probably I placed the bunnies maybe a little bit closer. So I was probably out maybe an eighth of an inch, if that. So I did have to do a little bit of sanding to just get it a little bit shorter. As a support for the sides, I'm cutting a little piece of square dowel, and that's going to fit right into my corners. I think I made it almost 2 inches in length. Now, these square dowels are also a Dollarama purchase, but I know you can get square dowels at different hardware stores, lumber stores, and I believe Michael's carries them as well. I glue the dowel pieces right to the sides of the bunny, and then I'll be able to use those supports as an area where I can place hot glue and glue the sticks onto. So then I don't get a big glob of glue on the outside of the crate. Now that the crate is fully assembled, I decided to go ahead and mask off part of the sides of the crate and do the color blocking on there as well. At first, I thought I would just leave the color of these painter sticks because they are a really nice shade of wood. But then as I was looking at it a little longer, I thought, nah, I need to make this look the same all the way through. So I'll paint the bottom black, the top with the mushroom color, and then distress it a little bit with the clay color. I dressed it up with a few rustic eggs, and I think it's gorgeous. The last project I have for you today is this canvas and easel set that came from Dollarama for $2. I know I've seen some smaller versions at the Dollar Tree, so if you don't have a Dollarama, I'm sure you can find something similar. I took the easel apart and gave it one coat of white chalk paint, and I'm doing the same for the front of the frame. At this point, I wasn't sure how I was going to decorate this one, so in hindsight, I really didn't need to paint the canvas itself. I found a modern farmhouse paper pack at Michael's a while ago, and I chose this sort of plaid color that has some neutral tones and just a little pop of gold. I thought it would be the perfect backdrop for this sign. I'm painting a generous coat of Mod Podge all over the front of the canvas, and then I'm going to lay the paper down a little bit off center. I don't necessarily want that plaid of the gold to be right in the center. I want this to look a little quirky. I flipped it over and just used my fingers to press down on the canvas to make sure that the paper will stick really well. Using my craft knife, I just cut off the excess. I chose this white cotton rope to use as a border all the way around the frame. I wanted to cover up the canvas and just make sure that there wasn't anything showing in between the paper and the rope. I have seen white nautical rope at the Dollar Tree. I've also seen their jute rope, and they also have all different types and sizes of twine. Using the mushroom colored latex paint, I'm going to just dry brush all along the easel, giving it more of a distressed look, and so it's not so pure white. Using my Cricut Joy, I designed this Hello Spring with this sweet little bird, but I forgot to do one crucial step. So when it cut out the vinyl, all of the letters were not attached, so there was a lot of extra different pieces and I was not able to use it as a decal. So I'm just going to use it as my inspiration, and it will be available as a free printable on my website as well. I'm using a Craftsmart paint pen in black. This is a fine point, and I'm just going off of the inspiration piece, doing some thicker lines and some thinner lines, and I think this turned out really sweet. I really hope you enjoyed these modern farmhouse DIYs. I love the neutral look of them, but they still say spring. If you're new to my channel, I'd love for you to stick around. Hit that subscribe button. That black arrow will point you in the right direction. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate your support. Bye for now.